What's up, guys? This is Chad with Living the Van Life. It's currently March 17th, 2020. I'm out here in Reno, Nevada. This is going to be a little bit of a different video than normal. This is going to be completely unscripted, completely unedited. This is just me talking about my thoughts and addressing this issue behind the whole coronavirus or the COVID-19. I'll start off by talking a little bit about my status right now. I'm currently in Reno, Nevada. I've been here for about a week, and Battleborn Batteries has stepped up as a sponsor to my channel, and I've reached out to them a couple months ago now to help me set up and design the ultimate battery system for the Vanagon. And those guys have been tremendous, above and over the top of helping me out over the last couple months design that system. I made the trip down here to Reno last week, and they have been helping me out with a professional installation of that here at Sprad's RV here in Reno. And I just can't express enough how those guys have really stepped up to the plate to help me out on this, what I'm calling an off-grid auxiliary battery system. The ultimate system for what I feel here in my Vanagon, which really is becoming more and more of such perfect timing coming into this crisis that we're in. Having my van even more solidly set up for any sort of off-grid survival type situation, and that's been my ultimate goal with that. So anyways, I'm here. The van is currently in the shop. I've cleaned everything out of the van so that the guys at Sprad's RV can work on the van and get the components for this battery system installed. Everything is here inside of this loaner vehicle, which is a Chevy Trailblazer that they've loaned me so that I have a vehicle. But right now everything is set up inside here. Battleborn has put me up in a hotel during the installation process, and so I'm just waiting for the van to be done. And kind of amidst all of this installation going on, this coronavirus pandemic has really accelerated beyond belief, and that's the ultimate goal of this video, is to address that and where I'm at on that. I will be doing more videos about this 12-volt system in my van. That'll come at a later date, but right now I just really need to address this issue, update you guys where I'm at on things. For those of you that are questioning if this is real, for all the jokes that have been going around social media or just face-to-face about this coronavirus, if any of you are questioning if this is real, I can speak firsthand that this virus, this disease is real. It's directly affecting my family. In fact, as soon as my van is done here in a couple hours, I am making a beeline straight back to Washington so that I can be with my family and address this issue firsthand. It's important for me to get this van done. I don't want to leave my van. I have prepped my van over the years to become a survival machine. Never really thought something like this would happen, but I always wanted to be prepared for situations like this. So I don't believe in leaving my van behind. I did consider renting a vehicle and beelining it straight for Washington, but I feel that in a time like this, it is important that I have my van by my side, because we don't know where this is going to continue to go. As far as how I've prepared myself for this, typically inside my van I carry 3 to 5 days worth of canned foods and non-perishable foods. That's just my emergency supply in case I break down somewhere, in case I get stuck in a snowbank or I get snowed in somewhere. I want at least a few days worth of food. As things have progressed through this virus situation, I've decided to go ahead and up my non-perishable food supply to 2 to 3 weeks of food at least. I've got about 5 to 6 gallons of water on board. Now, I'm not saying that you guys need to go out and prepare with water. I think our water supply should remain just fine, but because I'm solely based out of my van, if I had to go socially distance myself somewhere off grid, I wanted to be prepared with water and food. At this point, I am going to be heading back to Washington to be with family and deal with that issue firsthand. So, nonetheless, I am still prepared for anything that comes our way. I really think with the craze that is going on with this, there's quite the frenzy in the grocery stores, as we all are aware of this. However, I think it's not a time to panic. It's certainly a time to prepare. And I think it's also a time to think far ahead and be ahead of the curve. Think about what other supplies may be becoming scarce and try to be ahead of that curve and maybe prepare yourself with that. That doesn't mean hoard it. That just means be prepared. For instance, just about a week and a half ago, we had a small amount of hand sanitizer and was keeping our hands sanitized because that's what we were told to do. And I kept telling myself I should get some more Clorox wipes, I should get some more hand sanitizer, and I kept procrastinating. Well, within a few days, there is no more hand sanitizer and Clorox wipes and just stuff that will protect us. So I kind of learned my lesson with that I should have been ahead of the curve and went ahead and prepared for that rather than procrastinate. So beyond that, I've gone to REI and bought more fuel for the jet boil, understanding that a lot of this food that I prepared myself with can be prepared right in the jet boil. So I wanted to have some extra fuel. I also grabbed some dehydrated meals, MREs, which is a great thing for this. They don't perish for something like 20 to 40 years. They're good tasting, they're simple to store. So I grabbed some of those, and that was 3 or 4 days ago. And not more than a day after that, there was an email that came through from REI, and they said they were closing all their stores across the country. So luckily I was ahead of that curve. And not that REI is the only source for that stuff, but I do look to REI as a store that has a lot of survival type gear, and it's always something that I've taken for granted that REI would be there, or stores like REI. Since then, I've gone to Sportsman's Warehouse and just kind of, window shopped, walked up and down the aisles and kind of took inventory and made a mental list of some of the things that I felt could be needed down the road, and gathered some of those items up. Since I will be making the 13-hour drive up to Washington in a 1991 Volkswagen Vanagon, the Westfalia. We all know, well, those of us that are familiar with those vehicles know that they are mechanically inclined to fail from time to time. So I took precautions with that, and in case my van were to break down on the road, I still needed to make sure I could get myself home in a decent manner. So I did buy a larger backpack designed more for hiking, so that if I did have to take to foot because my van broke down along the highway somewhere, at least I could put some supplies into a larger backpack and some other survival gear and be able to go on foot. So that's kind of where I'm at with things. Right now I've got everything organized in boxes that is here in this loaner vehicle. Like I said, I haven't been staying in this vehicle. I've been put up in a hotel by Battleborn, and those guys have just really bent over backwards to help me with this situation and get me through this. So anyways, I've got everything organized in boxes here so that when my van becomes available here in a couple hours, I can load the stuff out of this vehicle into the van, and then I can hit the road. And if anything, being prepared, I feel like helps reduce the amount of panic that could be possible in situations like this. And of course, because this is having a direct effect on my family, my senses are heightened significantly, so I'm doing my best to stay calm in that, and knowing that I'm prepared certainly helps in that scenario. I've got my knives, I've got my axes, I've got my clothing, I've got my shelter with the van. So I really think if there's anything that we can take away from this whole entire scenario is the fact that I hope we can learn some lessons from this. I think there's lessons to be learned in preparedness, not just in our own households, but as a society, as a healthcare system, and also complacency. I think we've all gotten so complacent as Americans, as first world countries, that things like this could never or would never happen to somebody like us and Americans in other first world countries. And so I really hope that this is a lesson, because this is indeed unfolding in front of us, and it does not matter. I cannot stress enough, this is not something that should be political, and it's sad to see all the political stuff going back and forth. And as a government should be pulling together in scenarios like this and uniting the country so that we can all band together and move forward with this, and not position ourselves politically in this. That to me is absolutely sad. It's sad to see that that happens. I can't speak for other countries, but at least here in this country. So I really hope that as this continues to progress, that we all pull together as human beings and as a society and a community together, and we work together to bring this to containment as fast as we can. It's unbelievable how fast it feels like things are unfolding, which is just another reason to just take a deep breath and try to keep our wits about us. And that's really what I wanted to do in this video, is just address my thoughts on this, let you guys know that I'm still here. I do have several videos in the can that I need to edit. Many of you that have been following my Instagram know that I've been on the road. I've been out in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. I've been filming some other cold winter videos, and so that's all in the can, and I just need some time to be able to edit. So I'm letting you guys know right now that I might not be able to do that in a timely manner, so we might have to put those videos on hold. To address my health situation of where I'm at, I've been on the road out of Washington State since February 20th, which many of us know that Washington State has kind of been the epicenter for all of this unfolding. So there's lots of concerns for people knowing that I'm from Washington. I've been on the road prior to that, not that that makes me safe, but I've been out of that epicenter. So I'm thankful, at least for my family who's being affected by it back home, that hopefully I'm able to come in as a healthy figure to be able to help them out. I haven't had any symptoms. I've really been going above and beyond to sanitize my hands. I keep hand sanitizer with me in my pocket. I carry a couple bottles, which I was able to get a hold of, in the van, and I replenish, and I wash my hands over and over again as much as I can, just anything that I can do to make sure my hands are clean. And also being very, very conscious, taking deliberate thoughts of things that I'm touching, door handles, knobs, credit cards. It's so important that we're just aware of when we've touched things and when we need to sanitize. And folks, this is not about you or I getting sick. It's not a fear of us getting sick, but it's a responsibility that we have as citizens, as a community, as humans on this planet, to do our part and not spread this disease. At least help not spread the disease. It's not a matter of being young and say, you know what, screw this, I'm gonna shake as many hands as I can because it can't get me. That is the most asinine thing that I could possibly think of to be doing and having that kind of attitude. So for all of you that, I'm gonna say it again, for those of you that don't believe this is real, I can speak firsthand. I'm not prepared to talk about those details, but maybe at a later date I will be able to do that. But just knowing, I know somebody firsthand, immediate family, that has been tested positive for coronavirus. So please take this seriously. I'm not saying that so that to get sympathy from anybody. I want to say that so that you guys take this shit seriously and hopefully change your attitude about what this is, because I was one of those people. I was guilty of thinking that this was all a media hype. And it's hard because we've had other viruses, we've had other pandemics come and go and us not be affected, but it's clear that this is a much bigger scenario. I don't understand the details of it. There is one thing that I do wish that the news and the media and the government did better for us, was educate us why and how this is so much more powerful than other viruses, because it's easy to look at just the standard flu and see that even here in the United States, that every single year we have hundreds of thousands of deaths due to the flu, but yet we live from it. We live with it every day. And that was my attitude. I'm like, there's hundreds of thousands of people who die, unfortunately, from the flu, but yet we live with that. So why do we need to make this one so much bigger? But it's clear that reality is hitting home and that we all need to face this reality. So I just wanted to give you guys an update. I know this is completely different. I want everybody to be able to remain positive out there, remain strong, because that's what's going to get us through this, and that's what I've always been about in my channel, is not doom and gloom, but being positive. And I just wanted to really express my thoughts and my feelings and my concerns to all of you, my large and fast growing audience. I figured maybe with my message out to you guys that you guys can all come together and help make a difference in all of this, because we're all going to need it, not only as a society or a community, but as a whole entire globe. So guys, please think about this whole thing a little bit differently now, because if you didn't know somebody that's been affected by it, you do now, and we need to take this seriously. All right guys, I'm going to leave it with that. I do want to let you know that I'm extremely busy with trying to get all of these moving parts moving towards Washington. It's not just a family member that's ill, but it's also an emergency that's unfolding before all of us, so I need to make smart decisions. What I was going at, well, we all need to make smart decisions, not just myself, but that's what I'm up against as well. As far as comments coming in, please know that I appreciate every single comment that comes in, and I appreciate everybody's concern. I'm in a spot right now where I might not be able to respond to many of these comments that are coming through, but just please know that I'm here and I'm reading the comments, and that doing our best to get through this. So yeah, I just want to thank everybody for being part of the channel. I'm sorry that we have to even have this discussion, but at the same time, it's important that we all get this word out there. And positive thoughts, positive vibes, guys. That's what's going to keep this world together. I love you all. Thank you so much for being part of the channel. All right, guys. Peace out. Keep on trucking.